What's going on, everyone? So today was the day that the first ever inaugural NBA in-season tournament tipped off, and we had quite a just fun slate of games. You got to see a lot of the competitive nature. The Indiana Pacers ended up beating the Cleveland Cavaliers. Milwaukee Bucks beat the New York Knicks, even though Brunson dropped 45, which was crazy. The Brooklyn Nets squeezed out a win against the Chicago Bulls. The Heat beat the Wizards. The Nuggets beat the Dallas Mavericks. And then the Portland Trail Blazers won in overtime against the Memphis Grizzlies, which Memphis is now 0-6, which, hey, hate to say so, but I called it, that they were going to be terrible this year. And so far it's looking that. But the big game in question is the Warriors and the Thunder game. Now, the Warriors have officially jumped to 5-1 on the season. They are currently tied with the Denver Nuggets and are sitting at the 1 seed in the West, which is a much better start than we have seen last year, especially. And so, with that Warriors-Thunder game, great game. A lot of fun, a lot of back and forth. Warriors once again have the heroics of Steph Curry, who goes and hits a game-winning shot. He also finished the game with 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists, and is just looking and playing like an absolute madman. I mean, the guy has been ridiculous this year. Klay Thompson hit the game winner the other game, and you're starting to see this team really starting to put it together and kind of looking like a real threat. I'm still not super sold on the Warriors to actually win the NBA championship, but time will tell, right? But the reason that there is so much controversy centered around the Warriors and the Thunder game is because many people think that the Warriors got bailed out by the refs and the Thunder were cheated. So here is the sequence in question. So I'll paint the picture for you. So you had Steph Curry, do his little crossover on Dort. He drives to the hoop, gets to the basket, hits the layup, knocks the layup in with .02 left. Warriors win 141-139. But as you see here in the image, in the still, Draymond Green hits the rim. You can see his hand clearly on the rim while the ball is still teetering. Now, the shot was very likely going in regardless. I mean, if you actually saw the play, it was a clear bucket by Steph Curry. That wasn't the question. But Draymond Green touched the rim while the ball was still on the cylinder. The ball was not already going through the rim, and they first waved it off. Then they decided to take a look at it, and they got the call from upstairs and said, nope, it's good. And of course, they ended up giving the Warriors the win. And a lot of people are really furious about this. A lot of people feel that the Oklahoma City Thunder were cheated out of this win. Honestly, I think it's perspective in a lot of ways, right? Like, if you're a Warrior fan, you're looking at this as like, absolutely not. That wasn't a good bucket. He didn't touch the ball. He didn't, affect the shot. He didn't whatever. Again, it's a shot that was supposed to go in regardless. And then even some Warrior fans would argue, okay, well, even if they did go into overtime, the Warriors would have still won. Now, if you're a Thunder fan, you're looking at it as, no, that clearly was basket interference, and you would have won in overtime, and we would have won in overtime, right? So it just depends on what side of the coin you're on, I guess, or what side of the line you're on, because, Thunder at home, you'd think that, okay, they're the younger team, maybe they could pull it out. Right? Maybe they could go get that win in overtime. It just becomes a completely different game. Chet Holmgren, was playing well, 24 points, 7 of 9 from the field. You had Giddey, who was having a really good game, 8 of 15 from the field. Dort had, 9 of 12 from the field with 29 points. Like, they looked good. Now, they didn't have SGA, right? SGA was out of this game. But they were hanging in there. I mean, not really much defense. One team scored 141 points. The other team scored 139. This game was pretty much an absolute shootout from the jump, right? I mean, you just look across the board. It was basically just back and forth the entirety of the game. This was really a game of runs. But, personally, as somebody that's not an OKC fan or a Warrior fan, I thought he touched the rim and the game should have went in overtime. I thought that this was a clear easy call, but as we've seen in the past, it wasn't as clear and easy as many might think. Um, I mean, if you're OKC, the way you look at this is like, you know what? No SGA. We played the Warriors, right? And we lost on basically a Steph Curry game winner, and which shouldn't have counted. I think if you're the Thunder, you could kind of make that argument to yourself, like it's a basket that shouldn't even have counted. And then, like you're this young team that's trying to prove themselves. You, in my opinion, did that with this game. The Thunder have looked really good this year. They're looking like a nice young hot team. I know that they're 3-3 so far in the season. They've lost their last two, but they've looked good. Like they look like a team that is very promising, and you can expect to be a real fixture and one of the better teams in this league in the foreseeable future. This is a team that has SGA. They have Chet Holmgren. They have a ton of young players that they could then use to flip if they wanted to go get another star. If a Joel Embiid or somebody like that comes available, they could even go get several stars if they wanted to with all the assets that they have and just make some moves. I mean, Giddey has been fantastic for them. They got, the Williams. They're in an excellent shape. Treasure trove of draft picks, right? I mean, they have so many draft picks, they're going to need to figure out what to do. But, Steph is Steph, right? I mean, the dude has been next level this season. And it's crazy, like, you got to give him the love that he deserves, right? He has just continued to defy in so many ways. Right? I mean, he's 35 years old, and he's still playing out there like he's 27 or 25, right? This season, he's averaging just under 31 points per game, 30.8 points. He's giving you almost 6 rebounds, 5.7 rebounds a game with 4.3 assists, which the fact that Steph has always been so good rebounding the basketball at 6'2", I mean, he just has a nose and a feel for the game and just where the ball's going to go. He's just really good at just judging where the ball's going to fall off, right? And, I mean, even three-point percentage-wise, I mean, the guy is averaging 12 attempts per game and shooting 46%. I mean, that is ridiculous. Seriously, I mean, he's on a tear this year. He's shooting 45.9% if you want to be specific, but I mean, he's shooting 54.3% from the field in total, right? He has an EFG of 59.6. He almost has a 70% EFG. And, I mean, 93% from the free throw line. Like I said, giving you 5 rebounds a game, right? This is a guy that averages 5 a game. And still dishing out some assists, still able to make. He's played really well alongside Chris Paul with his ability just to play off the ball. And, Chris Paul is just wheeling and dealing as far as playing the point guard role. Even this game, he had 13 assists, I believe. So the Warriors are looking like a tough team. I still think that they desperately need some size, right? I mean, luckily, you have a guy in Kevon Looney that he didn't rebound the ball great this game, but usually he is excellent at just positioning himself and getting rebounds. And the Warriors as a team have been really getting after it on the rebounding. They're rebounding well as far as like teams go, but like I just think that once they play teams like the Lakers or the Nuggets or some of these more sizable teams, I think that that's where they're going to have a bit of an issue. That's where they're going to have a bit of a struggle. Just my thoughts, just my little 2 cents, because, hyped up the Thunder. And I still think the Thunder are very likely, at worst, a play-in team. I think at best they may even squeeze into like that 6 seed. I think they're pretty good, right? And they're only going to get better. Again, if SGA is in this game, the Thunder probably win, right? I mean, and I understand that, like, it's like, well, it would have been a different game if SGA played, right? So, like, how does it look? Maybe the Warriors blow them out. Like, I understand that, like, there's always that argument. There's those two sides to the coin. But SGA just impacts so much for the Thunder. And I think if this game was close, I think SGA would have been able to help better close that out down the stretch, hit some big shots. He's dealing with a left knee sprain currently, so that's why he was out, for those that were wondering. But I don't know. At the end of the day, it was a fun game. It was very competitive, but I think that was basket interference. I think that should have went into overtime. And then at that point, it's anyone's game. Now, look, you can, again, argue the Warriors would have won regardless. I wouldn't really push back too much on you if you want to argue that. But I think you could argue the same thing the other way, right? I just think to me, this was clearly one of those things, like, if you're a betting man, whatever side you bet on, like, that's the side you're agreeing with. If you won, just like if you're a fan, right? If you're a Thunder fan, you're furious. If you're a Warrior fan, you're like, that's right. But as somebody that's objective, that, not a fan of either, I thought that should have been waived off. I thought the original call was the right call, but it is what it is, and the Warriors got the win. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? First off, what do you think of the Thunder this year? Are you surprised by them? Do you think that they're a really good team? What do you think of Steph and just the way he's been playing? Again, he's been playing out of his mind. The guy has been ridiculous. How do you feel about the Warriors in general? Like, do you like the Chris Paul acquisition? Do you think, like, they're a real threat, or do you think, like, they're not good enough to beat, like, just because of the lack of size? I definitely think they're good enough to beat, like, the Nuggets or the Lakers or stuff like that if they're hot and Steph is doing heroics and stuff. I just think the size factor is going to be a real issue for them. Once you get into the playoffs, it was an issue last year when they faced the Lakers. But how do you feel about that? And then, of course, what are your thoughts and opinions on that call? Or I guess the overturned call. Do you think that Draymond Green, that was clear basket interference? Do you think no, like, good overturn, they got it right? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, love to hear it. Let me know either way down in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.